Anybody? Again, like I said, this was the hard part. This right here, knowing that that was x minus 4. Short leg, long leg, short leg, long leg. Everybody good with that? Now, I had some people do things some pretty smart. All right. And this is what I'm talking about. If you understand trig, listen, you can do this problem. Does everybody agree we can figure out what that angle is? What is that angle? Tangent of theta is equal to 6/4, correct? Yeah. So now if we do inverse tangent, come on, do it with me. Theta would be inverse tangent of 6/4. Yeah, and then people found this to be 56.309. And now if that's 56.309, then subtract that from 90, and that would be like 30. This angle down here would be 33 point, what is that, 691 or something like that. So everybody agree these two have to be, now this is where I'm saying these two have to be 90 degrees. Everybody agree with that? Everybody agree? So now I can use tangent of 33.693 is equal to 6/x minus 4. So I agree with that. Yes, guys? And you could go from there if you didn't see the proportions. All right, that's what some of you guys, you're getting answers and I don't know how you're getting answers. So you have to show me your work. I just don't want an answer written down. All right, so that's another method. All right. Down here, I just did x/2 or 2/x. I did short leg over hypotenuse. Short leg over hypotenuse. The hypotenuse was the whole thing, correct? This was the hypotenuse. That's why it's 14. Anybody have any problems with number 2? Okay, number 3, we did a lot. That was 20 times 1. That was 20 times 3. So the other one had to be 20 times, and then you do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 3 squared plus 1 squared equals c squared. 9 plus 1 equals c squared. 10 equals c squared. C equals square root 10. So this was 20 square root 10. Anybody have any issues with that now? Good. I see some of you writing. That's good. All right. Number 4, does everybody see that's 9 times 3, 9 times 4, 9 times 5, right? Pythagorean triples, I wanted you to know. Some of you guys just wrote down a bunch of numbers. 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, 8, 15, 17, 7, 24, 25. Bless you. All right, now over here on number 6. All right, does everybody agree that's just a right triangle, right? And I noticed there's a common 2, so I just did, that was 2 times 8. This was 2 times 7, so this has to be 2 times something. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. 14 squared plus x squared equals, I'm sorry, not 14, but 7 squared plus x squared equals 8 squared. 49 plus x squared equals 64. X squared equals 15. X equals square root of 15. So that means this over here is 2 radical 15. Now you're looking at your own paper now. You're looking at your own paper, finding your own mistakes. See where you made a mistake. Anybody have any questions with that? Anybody? All right. So let's review acute. If c squared is less than a squared plus b squared, it's what? Acute. Obtuse. If c squared is greater than a squared plus b squared. Right. If c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. And then the only other thing you want to do is say the sum of the two smaller is larger than the third, or larger. All right. Anybody have any questions with that? All right, so let's look at the first one. 65, 72, and 97. 97 squared is equal to. Does everybody agree with that? Anybody have any issues with why 97 squared? Everybody's good with that? 5, 10, and 11. So we're comparing what? 11 squared to 5 squared plus 10 squared. I feel like everybody should be able to look at that and say, that's just less than. So it had to be acute. Now, come on, if you don't know that, you can say that that's kind of obvious now. Notice it says exact value. All right, some of you guys use trig. All right, and I kind of said, okay, all right, I wasn't happy, but you solved it even though you forgot. In a 45, 45, 90 to get to the leg, all you do is what? Divide by radical 2. You divide by radical 2. So it's just 22 divided by radical 2. And then you practice using your radicals. Square root 2, 22 radical 2 over 2. And then 22 divided by 2 is 11 radical 2. Is everybody okay with that? All right, that's the 45, 45, 90. All right, the 45, 45, 90 involves a radical 2. From 45 to 90, you multiply by radical 2. From 90 to 45, you divide by radical 2. $90 to $45, divide by radical 2. Okay, exact length again, which some of you did not use the exact length, and then I just was kind of annoyed. Anytime you see 30, 60, 90, all right, here we go. This is the hypotenuse. Opposite the 30 is always half the hypotenuse. If you forgot that, please write it down. Opposite the 30 is half the hypotenuse. Or to go from the 90 side to the 30 side, you divide by 2. And then to go from the 30 to the 60, you multiply by radical 3. So if you go in the reverse order, if you're going from 30 to 90, you multiply by 2. And from 60 to 30, divide by radical 3. Notice if you're getting smaller, you divide. If you're getting bigger, you multiply. So that's how I knew that AF was 2 radical 3. From FD to AF, you multiply by radical 3. And again, some of you use trig on there. I wasn't happy, but you could have said, if this is X, you could have said the sine of 60 is equal to X over 4. And then you would have a decimal answer. and it wouldn't be exact. All right. So now down here, same principle. Look right here, guys. This is 4 radical 3. That's the hypotenuse, correct? So now from the hypotenuse, this is the 30 side. We divide by 2. 4 radical 3 divided by 2 is equal to 2 radical 3. Is everybody happy with that? And now, because this is 30, remember, this is called the 30-degree side. To get to the 60, you multiply by radical 3. So 2 radical 3 times radical 3, that's the x. And 2 radical 3 times radical 3 is 2 times 3, which is 6. I'm listening. Go.
When it says like when we're going from 4 radical 3 to 2 radical 3, like why is it sometimes when we're going from like 90 to 80, instead of dividing by radical 2, we just divide by 2?
Because that's the rule.
Well, yeah, I know, but like in other ones, we've divided by radical instead of just 2.
All right, so let me explain. What I would like for you to see is this triangle right here. That's the only thing I'm looking at right at this moment. I would like you to know that that 4 radical 3 is the hypotenuse, correct?
Yeah.
Now, next part. I'm looking at this triangle. The 4 radical 3 is what on this triangle? Yeah, opposite the 30. So to get to the 60, I multiply that by radical 3, which is 12, right? Now, if I wanted to know what this side was now, and here's, I think, what you're kind of asking me. If I wanted to know what this side is, I take this and I double it. That whole highlighted pink region is 8 radical 3.
Oh, because it's that fine, it's not.
Yes. You see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
That was important. All right, very important. Anybody else would like me to go in, show you that differently? That's just knowing the rules for 30, 60, 90 triangles. All right. Practice, practice. Here is everything you need. Right here. All right, everything's right there. You just have to identify where you're at. All right, let's move on. Okay, so now I don't really have time to do all of the worked out solution, but everybody, that's just now, we don't have 2 sides of the right triangles. Everybody agree? So I can't use Pythagorean theorem. You have to use trig. All right, this is defined as what? Opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. What is that? And the x is the, so what trig? Cosine, 18, adjacent, over, hypotenuse. Come on now, if you're not understanding hypotenuse, adjacent, opposite, I wish you would speak up. Yes, sir, good for you.
I used sine, but I got the same answer.
Then you must have chosen this to be 72 degrees over here.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Doesn't matter how you set it up. As long as you set it up correctly, you'll get the same answer. All right. Anybody? Now, if you want, it wouldn't be a bad idea if you missed that problem to plug those numbers in and make sure you're good. All right. Okay, so here's one I almost tossed out, but you know what I mean? An A-frame house, I wanted you to know that this is like a what? Isosceles right triangle, correct? So this length right here from here to here is how much? 40. All right, now what's this length from here to here? 15. This is 40. And this is 15. So I need an angle. Is this a right triangle? Yeah, so it's not law of sine. It's not law of cosine. It's just SOHCAHTOA. What's the relationship between 40 and 15 and x? Opposite and what? Adjacent. So we're looking at tangent. Tangent of x is equal to 40 over 15. X equals inverse tangent of 40 over 15. Everybody looking at that? Is that making sense to you guys? Everybody's making sense on that? All right, now I'm saying, guys, we're 13, so we're more than halfway. No one said much. No one's saying much. All right, so to me, that means you know what you're doing. You just made some mistakes. You needed extra practice. All right. 14, I don't know how many times we've done this shadow problem. And some of you don't know where to put a shadow. Shadow is where? On the ground. Your shadow is on the ground. Does anybody have any questions with how I set that up? This is the angle of elevation right here. That's theta. That should be drawn on your paper. Draw that on your paper. 14, anybody? Anybody? All right, 15, I drew the picture out. Angle of depression. Here's your mistake. This is not 5 degrees, correct? The angle of depression is equal to the what? Angle of elevation. This guy right here is 5 degrees. Is everybody with me on that? Everybody's good? So we want the height of the cliff. So I just throw down an X. Opposite, adjacent, tangent. Tangent of 5, or tangent of 15. I'm sorry, I thought that was a 5. Tangent of 15 is equal to X over 1,000. Now, once again, guys, here's your time. Right now, we're just doing right triangles. So it's always SOHCAHTOA, right? You're looking at, some of you got confused with, you know, if it's a right triangle, it's SOHCAHTOA. That's what you need to make yourself a note on. All right, let's look at 16. A plane flying at an altitude of 10,000 feet begins descending to an end of a runway that's 50,000 feet from a point on the ground directly below the plane. A plane flying at an altitude of 10,000. So here's my plane up here, correct? Here's my plane. He begins to descend. Now, here's where the key was. When the end of the runway is 50,000 feet from a point on the ground directly below. So here's the point directly below the plane, right? So then this was the 50,000 feet. Does everybody agree with this now? All right, I agree. That's kind of tricky. And the angle of descent would sound like angle of depression, which means it's the same as the angle of elevation, which is this guy right here. And that again is just what? Tangent of theta is equal to 10,000 over what? 50,000. So you should have been able to just say, well, that's just 1/5. And do inverse tangent of 1/5. Theta is equal to inverse tangent of 1/5. Everybody's good? Now, as soon as you see it changed from what? 90-degree triangles, your brain then should switch over to law of sine and law of cosine. All right. Now, the tricky thing here was you had how many angles? So I needed the what? Just automatically, whenever they give me two angles, I automatically just quickly find the third, whether I need it or not. Does everybody agree with that? And now it's law of sines. These two go together and these two go together. Sine of 70 over x equals sine of 42 over 23. Cross multiply, divide. Cross multiply, divide. Anybody have any questions solving that? Anybody? All right, let's look at 18. Wow. X and 6, 17 and 38, automatically law of what? Law of sine. Sine of x over 6 equals sine of 38 over 17. Some of you put like sine 6 over x or something. A couple of you made a mistake doing that. All right, the ones opposite are related. The ones opposite, these go together and these go together. Yes. All right, does anybody have any questions with how the law of sines operates? These go together. These go together. Everybody's good with that? And then some of you use SOHCAHTOA. Is this a right triangle? No, you can't use SOHCAHTOA. Remember, I told you whenever they give you two angles, just go ahead and find the what? Find a third. You might never know, you might need it. And what do you know? You needed it, right? 14 goes with what? X. 73 goes with what? 60. That's just law of sines. Picture is drawn for you. Everybody's good with that? Okay, now I keep saying everybody's good. So it seems as though you're setting it up. Now is the problem solving it from when you set it up? That's something else you can ask me now. Anybody have any issues with setting it up? Proportion, cross multiply, divide. Yes? Everybody's good? What?
I'm kind of struggling on like how you do 20.
Yeah, we're not on 20 yet. Nobody has any questions solving law of sine, just a proportion. Okay, now for 20, the thing I need you to understand is I said you needed an angle and a side. Is this a law of sine? No, it's not a law of sine because I don't know an angle and an opposite side. I can't do law of sines. No matter how hard you try, you can't set a proportion because there'll always be two unknowns. So if you know that, now you just say it is a law of what? It's law of cosine. Now, again, here you go. If you missed it, you knew it was law of cosine. Some of you guys, believe it or not, put law of cosines and then put a sign where the cosine went. So that's just a mistake, right? Some of you put sine right there instead of cosine. Now, remember what I told you. What angle are we missing? X. So what goes on the outside of the formula? 8. X and 8 are related. Is everybody hearing me? Those go on the outside of the formula. So again, remember, law of cosine, a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. this X is this 8 is A. Everybody understanding that? Anybody need me to say that better? Tanner, is that good now? So I just automatically knew 8 squared. And then the other two numbers went after that. So 9 squared plus 16 squared minus 2 times 9 times 16 times cosine of A. Now, the hard part was working backwards. The hard part is working backwards. So I have, let me show you. You can hit math, or not math, but alpha, and then hit the X button. Does everybody agree a fraction comes up? I'm going to put 8 squared minus 9 squared minus 16 squared over -2 times 9 times 16. And now you can do it in one step. Does everybody see that? That equals cosine of A. All right. So type that in on your calculator, make sure you're good. And then you just do inverse cosine of that answer. And that should be like 18.573 degrees. I hope you're trying it. And if that doesn't work out for you, I hope you tell me. Yes, sir.
It's, well, it was alpha what?
Alpha X, and the fraction comes up. Right? Do you see it now?
Yeah, I got it.
Anybody? All right, now for 21. Now I'm trying to find X, correct? Now I knew this was law of cosine because X and angle X is what they're asking about. So I just put down X squared equals 18 squared plus 21 squared minus 2 times 18 times 21 times cosine of 156. So somebody tell me X squared equals, type that straight in on your calculator. Just type it straight in. What was it?
1,455.64.
Point like 6.4, did you say, somewhere around there?
Yeah.
All right. And then don't forget to take what? Square root. So what was that, Sebastian?
38.152.
Yep, 38.152. Anybody have any issues with that? Yes, sir.
I set it up right and got it wrong. Can you like go through what to do what you get like X squared equals 8 squared plus 10.
You just have to type it on the calculator correctly. Type it straight in for me. That's why I put those numbers in there. There's nothing for me to show you, or I would. You just type in 18 squared plus 21 squared minus 2 times 18 times 21 cosine 156, hit equal. And it should come up to 1455.64. If it doesn't, that's your problem. You didn't type it in correctly. You with me now, right?
Yeah.
And then hit square root of that answer. Good.
Yeah.
All right. 22, I kind of threw in there. All right, I thought 22 was kind of tricky. All right, so 22 you can miss. All right, 22 you can miss. If this is X, then come on, guys. What is this? 16 minus X. Short leg over hypotenuse. I'm sorry, short leg over long leg is equal to short leg over long length. Now, when you cross multiply, 2 times 2 is 4, radical 15 times radical 15 is 15. So that was 60 equals x times 16 minus x. 60 equals 16x minus x squared. It's quadratic, so you set it equal to 0. X squared minus 16x plus 60 equals 0. Then that factors into x minus 10, x minus 6. So either x is equal to 10 or x is equal to 6. I was proud of you guys. Some of you guys knew that. All right, that was hard. All right, that was a hard one. All right, so that's the one I thought was good to miss. And then, of course, 23, that was just knowing the formula. Area equals 1/2 AB sine C. Strictly a formula. 1/2 AB sine C. Anybody have any issues now? Does anybody want to tell me something I missed here? Like,
I don't think we missed it or anything.
all right, I'll look at yours in a minute. I know you want to ask me something. Anybody have anything? What? Under what? That means probably you typed in negative and minus. Right? Did you do 8 squared minus 9 squared minus 16 squared divided by -2 or -2?
Negative.
So what did it come out to be?
91 over 36.
What?
91 over 36, and I did this in this program, and it gave me error.
It can't be 91 over 36. Do 8 squared, do it again. Nine squared minus 16 squared. Right? Are you doing it? Are you putting it as a fraction or are you trying to do it by hand?
Doing it off of
Okay. And then do -2 times 9 times 16.
I don't know, this feeling correct.
It's -2 times 9 times 16. If it's in the denominator, if it's in that fraction, you don't have to put parentheses.
What was 91 over 36?
Yes, now that's good. Now you do inverse cosine of that, and that'll give you the answer. All right, anybody have any issues? All right, it's gonna put me a day behind, guys. All right, so we'll have to make it up. Anybody, last chance? Now, I just need you to do what to this? Come on, guys. Study. All right, I don't want those grades. All right, some of you, your parents are gonna kill you. All right, come on. All right, one more chance, that's it. All right, let's end this.